incredible, gotta have it, can't let it go. If you don't try, you'll never know that this is incredible. Now have you ever wondered how the best did it?
Welcome back everyone to Taste the Hustle. I'm Jorge Abreu Jr. Just a quick disclaimer today. There was a bit of an issue when we were recording this interview, and somehow now my voice sounds like Barry White. There's no way to fix it at this moment, but the show must go on. But on that, the show will go on. And on today's show, I have an extra special hustler for you, and it is Yonaira Hernandez. She is an HR director, a philanthropist, and an entrepreneur. And you guys really need to check this out. So let's go.
What I want you to do going forward is start thinking, okay, how about I change the words? I want to open up a business. I want to lose weight. Instead of saying, I have no time for it, I can't, I'm too busy, my kids want me to do this and I gotta be there. I want you to say this. It's not my priority. Hey, what happened with your business? Oh, it's not my priority. Oh, but wait, January 1st, you said you're gonna lose weight. It's not my priority. What is your perception gonna look like once you change those words? How is it gonna motivate you to actually pursue your greatness that is meant for you? We spoke about what it is to walk in purpose, to have a purpose. Walk in it. Because then you're gonna start running in it.
That's right.
And that's success.
Last night, I made an announcement to all my fierce ladies that I'm really excited about, and I'm really happy to now officially tell everyone. Fierce Females is officially a non-profit organization in the state of Florida. It started up as a free app I created March 2018. It's just a great tool, resource that the women can use for self-development and just gain inspirational pieces, has evolved to become so much more.
It's just so incredible, gotta have it, can't let it go. If you don't try, you'll never know that this is incredible. Now have you ever wondered how the best did it? They never second guessed, they didn't set limits. Are you a follower or a visionary? Can you handle the load that you were meant to carry? Cause we're on a mission, listen, it's beyond description. We don't wanna fit in if we're living in a contradiction. We need a brand of passion that you can't imagine. Don't hesitate, rub the lamp a lad. It's just so incredible.
So, welcome to the show, the one, the amazing, the only one, my sister, Yonaira Hernandez. Here she is. Welcome.
Hi. Glad to be here. Exciting.
Excellent. And I am excited for you to be here because I've been always wanting to talk to you about all your endeavors and all the things that you do. You know, your job, you have your kids, and then you have your, I don't know, your other jobs or side projects. I don't know what you want to call them because I know
hustles.
your side hustles.
Yeah.
Nice. Because you have that group, Fierce Females, right?
Yes, I do. My nonprofit organization.
Are you still working on an app? I think you told me.
I did have the app open. The app itself was active for about 2 years or so. It was connected to Fierce Females. It was just an extension of the Fierce Females. I ended up closing it down because it was becoming a little more expensive than I expected it to be. So I let go of the app. I continue, of course. The foundation itself is still on and popping.
Excellent. So there was an app.
Yes.
All right. But on that note, tell me more about this Fierce Female, the nonprofit. How did you initiate it? Like, where did the idea come from?
Oh, that's actually a really good question. So Fierce Females nonprofit, it's a organization that's meant to take care of the community women, to kind of help support the community women by giving them information that really is focused on getting them prepared for the future, right? For anything to come, just getting them better suited from whatever situation they're in. I would do that by providing information that was free, classes that were free to the community on a monthly basis. So for example, I would have like a personal finance class. I would have a personal, like a financial advisor that would come in and actually teach the ladies this information. One day we had Zumba classes, and we had another month was all about self-defense. So we had self-defense classes. At one point, there was a time where the focus was just music and inspiration that we get through music, whether it be good, whether it be bad. So the title was Life is a Song, and I had an artist sing with his band. So it was really focused on giving information, like I said, and being able to provide some sort of networking or like platform for the women, right? Because many of us come from many walks of life, and we don't know what we don't know. And it's hard to kind of get these resources if you don't know you need them, right? So
Yeah.
it was really all about that. This organization kind of came about from my own personal struggles. I mothered two, right? Had a marriage that lasted maybe about 9 years, give or take. In the marriage, it was a little bit violent. So I did go through some domestic violence, restraining order. I mean, you name it, kind of gone through it. Verbal abuse, emotional abuse overall, physical abuse. And this person as well ended up telling me they're the reason that they're the reason why I succeed. And they are pretty much putting out there that I won't ever be able to succeed without them. That they know more than me. It was
Trying
a
to anchor
whole
themselves to
motivation.
you.
Exactly, like really, like even so now I still go through like this emotional abuse from this person. But yeah, like this person pretty much told me that I won't be able, like I'm nothing without this person. They're the law. They pretty much tell me what I can do or cannot do. In essence. So many times I felt stuck. There were moments where I, as a single mom, 2 kids, was just trying to make things work on a very, very crazy budget. Not budget, wage. I imagine single mom, 2 kids, getting paid $12 an hour. I mean, it was really tough. I went through a lot of tough times. At one point, I remember trying to find things to do with the kids, but then having like the stress of thinking, crap, like what can I do with them? But I can't spend any money because I have no money. Or times I fell asleep. We all fell asleep, but I fell asleep hungry, but at least they were able to eat. And that's all I cared about. Many times I, cried. Sometimes it was hard for me to kind of let people know what I was going through. But I was going through a difficult time. So I started trying to kind of push myself, excel a little bit more, went back to school, did a few things to kind of get myself situated, grounded, so that I can provide better for my kids. And what ended up happening is that, I was doing better. And in that turn, I felt like, you know what, I need to do better for the community. And where I was, I wouldn't want anyone else to be. So let me find a way to kind of provide information or any kind of resource so that they would be better aligned than where I was. So I started off by creating an app called Gratis, which means free in Spanish. And it was just like a whole line of free events, free resources, free
This was
classes.
your first app that you created, right?
My very, very first app. And it was just focused on it's a free app that provides free information, like where kids can eat for free, where, it's like everything that's free. Because I'm thinking single mother with who knows how many kids, these are some things that I knew I needed. So I wanted to provide it for the community. From there, I ended up selling that app, which is pretty cool. And then ended up
Very
going into
exciting.
mode. Yeah, it was awesome. It was really awesome. It wasn't very nominal fee, but the fact that I created something and I sold it,
No,
it
yeah,
was
and especially in this time where everybody's thinking about creating an app, like everybody kind of has an idea for an app, until you check the app store and then you realize it's already done. But you had an idea and you actually went through with it and you did it, and then it became, so popular or well known that somebody bought it off of you. So
yeah,
that's a big feat right there.
pretty cool. I think they ended up closing it down, but whatever. It was, it was
Well, while you
it was
had
cool.
it, while you had it, it was running. So
Yeah,
after
it
that,
was.
it's not your fault.
But then that's kind of where I was like, what else can I do? What else can I do to kind of help the community? And from there is where Fierce Females kind of birthed itself. So I was really, really happy of just creating this nonprofit and just doing these events for the women. I ended up later on kind of adding some events that really touched both men and women, to kind of bring us all together. But for the most part, it's still going strong. Has been a little slow right now because, again, the whole premise of the events were to bring people together, and we're in COVID times.
Yeah.
So
Understandably, you have to,
yeah.
quarantine in place in some places. But also, we'll get back to group meetings and stuff like that. I feel like
Yeah.
in the future,
Hopefully
coming
soon.
back. Yes.
Hopefully soon. Of course, being safe, but kind of had to slow down, of course, because of COVID. But I'm hoping to do a relaunch, hopefully early year next year, because I have a lot of ladies that we still maintain connection, even after everything kind of slowed down, and they're all asking, like, when are we going to get back together? So once things slow down, once things are a little bit safer, hopefully beginning of next year, there's going to be a relaunch for Fierce Females Nonprofit, and I'm excited about it.
Have you no, that's great that you're gonna relaunch and do all that. But like, have you guys had any like Zoom like events that you put together? Because like everybody in this, and everybody's doing Zoom classes, Zoom meetings, and I was wondering, like, did you do like an event where you had all your members meet up on Zoom?
I have not, to be honest, only because at that point when everything kind of started, everyone was doing the Zoom. Um, and Fierce was a monthly event. There were some things that in my personal life I was trying to take care of first, because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to be consistently on the sessions,
Yeah.
in order to maintain the flow of people, because they all came together because they were able to come together. There were some things that kind of died down with the Zoom meetings. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm hoping that one way or another there's a relaunch. That can take place early next year. I'm pushing for in person. Really, I've been holding off because I want the in person. I feel like it's different when you're, all separated.
Yeah.
Um,
I
but
think by
we'll see.
hopefully by like February, March, I think we'll start having more group activities taking place.
Yeah, here's the hoping.
Yeah. And no, so it's fantastic that you had the idea for that group, and then you made it a reality, and you have guests, people who come, and talk at them. It's like exactly what you were saying. Like, you were at the time when you needed something like that, you couldn't really find it, so you decided it. Now you're putting it together,
Creative.
so it's yeah. No, that's a great help for like the female community in that area.
Yeah, I mean, I've had ladies who are come. I had this one that really just sticks in my head always, and I like pray for her as I remember. But she came to me. It was a session where we were talking about personal finance, and she was telling me how she was just so distraught. She had gone through such a hard time in her life. She was actually married, ended up being stabbed by her husband
Oh
at
wow.
least 30 times. It was 20 to 30 because it was like all over the place.
Oh man.
She was in the hospital for quite some time and was looking for ways to kind of just come back because she was fearful of just coming back to the world. Like she tried to really maintain herself in her household as long as she could, be out of fear that
Yeah.
something would happen to her.
Oh,
Um,
especially something like after something
it's
so
traumatizing.
traumatic. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
yeah, attacked with a knife. It's
yeah.
yeah. And
It's hard.
she didn't have kids with that person?
She did. She
Oh,
did
she
have
did.
kids.
Okay.
Yeah. So to hear her say something like that after coming to one of the Fierce events, and it was really because of the fact that she was able to learn something, but then connect with the women there and talk to them, just build a network from that. That was pretty awesome. So I can't wait to get back to that. I feel like that's when you have a connection with people, a personal connection,
Yeah.
people that you build, it's so much different.
No, yeah, definitely. The though either just the one-on-one or just like being next to people, you know, body language, the heat, all of that, you connect more, you
Yeah.
know, when you're in actual like live situations. Because like
Yeah.
when you're like on a video or something, it's like it's just um you can't tell what they're actually thinking or how they're saying it and all that.
I agree 100%. And I'm just thinking of a Zoom meeting, everyone talking at the same time. It's just, I feel like, I just feel like there would just be more order if it's in person. I feel like it just has a better, more personal touch when it's in person. So I've been holding off because I prefer to do it in person. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
No,
There's goals.
no, I only brought that up because
It's a good question though.
no, I brought it up because recently I had a short film that it was is in a festival right now. Well, that festival just ended, and
As
they did everything virtually this year, and even like there was like panels for like all the filmmakers to meet. It was done on Zoom,
oh wow.
and the way they did it was somehow, I guess the person I got to actually look into this. I probably won't need it, but like the person who's running the Zoom meeting could actually break people up into groups.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like I didn't know that. And so they would break everybody up into smaller groups, have them talk for a few minutes, and then bring them back to the big group. And then it went well, I think. Even though like I really couldn't tell how many people there were actually was, because like
Present. Yeah.
you could scroll the screen and see more little squares. But yeah, it was, you know, it was so innovative. That's the reason that I got the idea and to ask you if you were trying something like that, because I know everything like schools, workplaces, you know, everything's going into like virtual meetings like that. So that's the
That's
only
true.
reason I brought it up, because I thought I didn't know that you could break into small groups in Zoom. So that like blew my mind.
I recently learned that too. I actually had a session that I was attending for like some work related trainings. And one of the trainers did that. They actually broke us into groups, and it was
Yeah.
pretty cool. Pretty cool to see
Yeah,
that.
like I was like, whoa, oh, you know, it caught me off guard. I thought it was pretty cool, and it made it more manageable because it broke it down into like I think groups of like less than 10,
Oh, good.
and so it was easier to meet everybody, you know. And then they did that like several times. I don't know how they mixed it up, but they kept mixing the groups up so you could meet different people.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
That's a good way to know. That's awesome.
yeah. So it was fun. Yeah. And speaking of work, your full-time job is you are director of HR. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
For another nonprofit organization.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, the nonprofit that I'm at, it's called Lotus. It's a shelter for women and children who are survivors of domestic violence and homelessness.
Oh wait,
So we,
so wait. So
it
even
ties
this,
together.
it all ties. I didn't know this
Okay.
part. I didn't know this. Like you told me it was a nonprofit, but you probably told me the name, but I just didn't put it together that it's
Yeah.
also to help the female community. You are totally committed to this cause.
Yeah, been there, done that. So it's something that I feel like I just need to give back one way or another. This is a shelter. It's been open since 2014, I want to say. No, way longer than that. Way longer than that. I'm fairly new in the organization, so please forgive me. But it's been open for quite some time. I used to work in hospitality, and in the hospitality industry, I worked at several hotel chains, and many of them I would try to kind of do some sort of like social responsibility of sorts, like a community service of sorts, and a lot of times like we always come back to Lotus House. So I would always kind of everywhere I went, I would always try to find a way to connect Lotus House with the company that I was working with, one way or another, whether it be, I don't know, back to school donation drive, or maybe it's going on site and doing something with the kids. And it was destined to be. I actually ended up working, let me rephrase this. I actually ended up leaving the company I was with, and heading towards Lotus House in the beginning of COVID, when all the hotels were pretty much shutting down. So I actually like maybe the week before hotels started shutting down, that's when I was already transferring into my employment with Lotus. And
So
they
very
were,
nicely timed
yeah, I mean,
transition there.
I thank God for that 1,000%. Everything that happens to me, I feel like I really, I'm not sure, who is hearing and what their belief is. My belief is in God, and I really thank God for everything that I've been able to accomplish, because it's just insane. Like it's like a fairy tale, just listening or knowing what I've gone through, and then seeing how it all comes together. Like, ended up quitting my job without having a job. I was just at a point where I needed change, and I ended up having to like go through an interview like 2 days later after quitting, and it happened to be with Lotus. And with Lotus, I ended up getting hired on the spot.
Oh
And
wow.
then 2 weeks had given my notice. Um, my last week was a week where we had to kind of close down the hotel. So I had to unfortunately lay off a lot of people.
Oh wow.
That layoff day was my last day, which also happened to be and like a week later, my start day with Lotus. And Lotus is considered an essential company. So I was able to maintain employment because of that. So it's just crazy how everything works.
It's
So
very
I'm very thankful.
serendipitous. Yeah, it just flows.
Yeah,
But no,
I would say
that was perfect. It was because it's like like you thank God, and it's like you were meant
it's
to
meant to
go
be.
into that direction. Yeah.
Yeah, a company an organization overall that really focuses on what I was trying to do with fear. So um, to like a whole different degree, a whole different level. So I'm really appreciative of just
Are
being of the organization.
are you able in any way to combine the two, fearless
One way
female
or another.
and
There's been some talks, like when I first was speaking to the president, there was some talks of what I did with fears. Some way or another, I've been able to give a little piece of what I do. Like for example, there was one day with fears that I had what was it called? Oh my gosh, it was called like a career day of sorts, where I had lined up HR managers and general managers from companies that were there as a panel to speak to those who were present about how to find a job, how to fix their resumes, and so on and so forth. And I was able to do that for Lotus just recently. So one way or another, I kind of, whatever I can contribute, whether it's connected to the fierce females or it's just, something that I've done in
just
my past,
yeah.
I try to give as much as possible.
No, I only asked that because I would assume like those both organizations are doing the same thing, so like they could cross pollinate or
I know, like
something.
connect one way or another.
Yeah, synergize in a way.
Hopefully soon, we'll see. I mean, I'm fairly new. Kind of started when COVID started, so let's see what the future brings. I'm hopeful that
So it's been
more.
5 years, right?
But like 5 months. But it's a little bit more than 5 months, but it's
Oh no,
hopefully a goal.
I said 5 years.
I
Like,
know that's I'm like, ooh.
oh man, no, because like, no, because it like this whole pandemic and COVID, every month feels like a year in
An added
itself.
year.
You know, it's like you don't know what's coming up next month or like next week or the next day, and then it just feels like everything is. To me, it's felt like it's been like more than like 8 or 9 months, whatever it's been.
Funny you should
Yeah.
say that. I saw a meme because now, I mean, this weekend coming up um, is actually daylight savings.
Oh.
So daylight savings ends, which means you go back an hour. And I saw memes of people posting saying, we can't do one more hour of 2020. Like, we don't need an extra hour of 2020. So,
No,
yeah, I get it.
I'm totally with them. I'm with them. We don't need an extra hour in a day for this.
too much. Can't see.
Yeah. No, and not to get too political or anything like that, but next week is going to be a shit show.
Oh yeah.
Next week being the week of elections, and I just with the stuff that Trump has been spewing about if he doesn't win, it's because they cheated and he doesn't believe in the mail system and all of this. He's built. I feel like he's built up enough tension that next week is going to be a shit show. Like that whole week, because
I
they're
agree.
not gonna have the count in 1 or 2 days. You know, it's gonna be like maybe 3 weeks of them counting, maybe less, and he's just gonna be adding fuel to the fire.
Oh
I
yeah.
bet. So
They do.
like mentally, I'm already preparing myself. I'm just gonna watch Netflix.
And just chill.
And then at the end of the month, I'll check to see who's president.
It's gonna be madness. I agree 100%.
Yeah.
People are already. I mean, I really hope that people go out and vote if they can, because I do hear a lot of people are not. I honestly was going back and forth with the idea. Only recently I was just like, you know what? Let me
Of
just
going to vote?
of
Like,
going to vote. Yeah. Just
yeah.
voting. Yeah.
Oh, you almost didn't vote.
Yeah. I almost was just like, you know what?
Yeah,
Like,
I don't like
caught between
either.
a rock and a hard place between the two
I
right
don't
now.
like
So
either. I don't like either, but Biden is just dumb. Like he's just not dumb. He's just like he's old. So it's like, at this point, I'd rather the old same old, than this fireball that he talks and he doesn't do anything for the
yeah.
people. Everything he does is like for his rich friends and himself.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
know?
I'm not sure what next week it's gonna look like, but it's going to be madness.
Yeah. No, and it's crazy because there's like a lot of people who are like with him and they have good reasons to be with him, But it's like I don't know what's gonna happen next week.
I know it's gonna be madness. That's how I'm preparing for it as well. I feel
Yeah.
like I need to
Now,
hide in a bunker somewhere.
after he became president, nothing shocks me anymore. Like whatever
Yeah.
happens next week, I'm just gonna be like, I kind of saw that coming. So either way, excuse me, him winning, I'm kind of seeing it coming. Him losing, I'm also kind of seeing that coming. So it's like, it depends, So I'm not gonna be in shock.
I know.
Like last time I was like, there was no way this guy was gonna win, and then he won. And
Now,
I was like, oh, I did see the signs like before, because when I used to work doing fire safety, and we would go to these buildings to talk to the maintenance people. A lot of the maintenance people were Trump supporters, and they would freely talk to me like if I was one of his supporters, but I didn't care. But they were nice. They were like not being any like idiots or anything like that. But they were just like they were supporting him, and I just didn't pick up on it that everywhere I went there was a lot, and I was more surprised. And then when he won, I should have been like, oh, okay, yeah, But this time, I won't be surprised.
yeah, and even still, like I feel like we're a nation divided 100% right now.
Yeah, in these times.
But I'm not sure which one might win actually, because I hear a lot of people supporting Trump and a lot of people that don't.
Well, especially where you are in like Florida and Miami, the Cubans.
Don't get me started.
Because like in 2016, I think, when I went and visited you guys, or either maybe 2015 or 2016, it was before Trump being president. And like, I went over there and I was like openly on the radio station. They were like shitting on, the
Obama.
President Obama on the radio station. I was like, whoa, like, this is the president we're talking about. Like, that was kind of like the first time I was hearing people shit on the president. But then I was like, oh, okay, wait, what's going on? And it was mostly racial, the way they were talking about it.
Yeah.
They had no real gripe. They had no real nothing. It was like, just, they didn't want him in the White House. And I was like, whoa,
A lot of it.
this is
Yeah.
Miami. Like, I thought they would be more like welcoming.
Oh, but you'd be surprised because racism is like that. We can go into so many different topics with this right now, but racism is strong even within the Hispanic community. Like,
Well, that I know, especially the Dominican.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
like
therefore,
that I know. But for people who are, it was just surprising coming from the Cuban culture in the radio station that I was hearing, that they were that outwardly kind of being racist to the president for being black. It was just like, even though they were kind of mixing it up with speaking English and Spanish, but I could pick up the undertones and what they were actually saying. And I was just like, wait, aren't Cubans mixed too? And a
yeah,
lot of the
that's it.
Cubans that are here are escaping. So you would think that they are like, I don't know, a little more empathetic of other people escaping where they're coming from and stuff like that. But they were just like, nope. Like,
Yeah, I know it. They see. Not saying that all Cubans, but
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that
yeah,
either.
yeah,
But it was
um,
it was kind of openly
yeah,
being
yeah.
in the radio, like, so it's like what
It's
you're
very
hearing.
common.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I was surprised, and I was like, oh, okay. It wasn't even that they could support somebody else, and they don't have to love Obama, but it wasn't that they were saying that, oh, this policy sucked. It was like, that
because
black
he's
man.
this. Yeah,
Yeah, like, it was more like that than some funny word to say black person in the White House is doing this and this and that. Like, it was weird. It was weird to hear that
that
in
was
the
the
radio.
highlight of what they're saying. They needed to
Yeah.
put an emphasis on that specific
Yeah,
thing.
like,
It happens so often.
why mention the color of the skin every other sentence?
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's a very common thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people, different races, but there is a huge, very much so here, especially when you think, South Florida, melting pot, so many different um, diverse groups that are living here, or it's diverse because there's so many groups living here. But there's still a lot of racism
Yeah.
within the sorry.
Within the
Within
culture.
the ethnic groups, yeah, there
Yeah.
is a lot of racism. As you said, Dominicans, I mean, and it's, if you really think about it, and this is something I always mention, Hispanics itself, like Spaniards, they're European, right?
Yeah.
But Hispanics, especially in the Caribbean, we are a created mix. We are the mixture of a European and an African American.
Yeah.
And that's because the slaves were brought into
No,
the
and then
Caribbean.
don't forget the third one that
The Taino
some
and
like, will say, "Oh, I'm European and Taino Indian." They don't want to say that most likely
they're
their color
African.
comes because they're also part African. For like, when you're talking to Hispanics or like people Caribbean descent, a lot of
Yeah.
them, before saying that they're part African, they're gonna say they're native from the land, like Indian or
Yeah.
whatever they were called at the time, like the natives.
Which is funny
Like,
because thousands of Indians were killed off
before
before the slaves arrived.
before,
Like
yeah.
African American slaves
But a
arrived.
lot of them
So
a lot of them
they just don't
feel
want to claim
that,
it. Yeah.
yeah, they don't want to, like,
Accept
they
it.
yeah, they don't want to accept that they're part African. It's just, it is what it is. It's just it was whitewashing of the culture. So back then they did it, and they were very good at it, that it just sticks throughout generations. And so, yeah, we went off on a tangent there. But it's great, because I haven't talked to you in like this in a minute. Do you have any other projects that you are like developing or thinking of, or like anything else, or that's it?
Well, funny enough, I do. Since I've taken the break with Fierce Females right now because of COVID, I actually, one of my cousins, Michelle, actually gave me a really good idea of something I can do, which is write a book.
Oh,
And the reason for it is because I would go around and I would always help my friends, family, whoever would come up to me asking about, how to fix a resume or how to prepare for an interview or anything like that. And I would always help because I felt like it was my duty to do it as, human resource professional. And then on top of that, I would also go around to like the community, like the homeless shelters, the libraries, and provide a free training on how to find a job and all that good stuff. So I kind of had a good conversation with my cousin Michelle, and she was telling me, hey, just write a book with all the information that you give people and all the things you do as far as this
that's a
topic
great
goes.
idea.
Just write a book.
Yeah.
So I've taken this time to write the book. So
Wow.
yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. I'm actually sending it off to the editors hopefully in the next few days.
Oh, so you
Um,
already have a draft.
yeah, I have my manuscript created. I've
Did
gone through.
you wrote it yourself or you had a ghostwriter?
No. I funny enough, I started with a ghostwriter, but then that person didn't write it how it should be. So I had to start from scratch. And I, of course, used a lot of references, here and there. So I was doing a lot of research to kind of pull the information together. But yeah, I wrote it all myself.
And this is a in essence like a help book.
Yeah, it's a how-to of how to find your dream career or find a job, period. Especially now during COVID, things are different now. There's a lot of virtual pieces taking place that a lot of people are not prepared for. So in essence, just some of the topics, it's how to create your resume. What are some things that HR professionals are looking for? There's a lot of HR tips and secrets and stuff like that throughout the book. But how to create your resume, how to create your LinkedIn profile, how to write a thank you note, the importance of your online presence on the internet, and how that can affect your employment or possible employment.
Is
How
that, sorry to interrupt on that part. Is that like an actual big thing now with employers? Like they're gonna actually focus on your social media?
100%. I know people that have gotten fired because of the social media.
But
Um,
is it just to backtrack a little bit? Is it mostly on what you're doing on social media, or and any part is it how many people are actually following you? Does that contribute?
no, not the following so much. It's really what you're posting out there.
Okay.
Because if you're going to be like a brand ambassador of some sort, like an important key position in the company, and you're posting like half naked photos, that's a representation of the company, and therefore that'll be bad. Especially now, as things have gotten, it's always been a sensitive time when it comes to race, but now it's even more
Yeah.
sensitive. So you post one thing about racism of any kind of way, you're gone. So a lot of employers are looking at, and yeah, I mean, a lot of people are seeing this in social media where someone posts something and that's it. The next day you hear about this person losing their job.
Yeah.
So social media is a big piece of how to manage your presence when it comes to the online search. When it comes to hiring for a position, employers say they don't, but in reality, I'm not saying all of them do, but a good portion still use like the searching on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, whatever account the person might have. They might look into it just to see what kind of presence this person might have out there that might be brought into their company.
Here's a question to add to that. I think I heard something somewhere, but if let's say your social media stuff is private, can an employer ask to let them see it,
No,
or they can't, right? Because it's private. Okay,
they shouldn't.
so here's
Only when it can be some sort of an impact to their company. So like,
okay,
let's say it's a private account, but now someone posted in a thread somewhere something that is racist. Well, now that's public because someone else can go in and pull it and then send it to your employer. At that point, that's when it becomes an issue. But your own private account, it really wouldn't be.
But
Managers that
on
ask for
that
their
note, because you said if something is posted in a public,
in a thread
okay,
where it can be seen
in a
by other
thread,
people.
okay, in a thread, so not like somebody's account. But what if, because this happened, I think, before, and some people I think they actually got fired. But let's say in your own private, account, somebody posts something, you or the person who owns it posts like something racial, and then somebody who you gave permission to look at these things because it's in your
A
friend
friend
group,
or family that's a friend, yeah.
yeah, like takes a screenshot and then posts it into one of those threads, can you be
Or even
fired?
sends it to the manager.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can you
you
be
could.
you could be fired from something that you said in a private setting. In a sense, it's a private setting because it's only for those that you want to follow. Yeah.
Yes, but then you're putting it out there because your group might put it out there to, like, whatever you put in the internet is now in writing, right? Whatever you send a text, an email, it's in writing. So anything that can be seen as harassing or discriminatory in any kind of way, that can be used against you for obvious reasons, right? So not something should be done in the first place. But yeah, as soon as you put one thought, it might be your own private group, but it's a public setting. Like there's more than one person in your group, you know?
Yeah.
And because of that, you're running the risk of anyone going in and taking a snippet and then sending it to your manager. I know a few people that have gotten terminated because of that, and not anyone that actually worked with me directly or in the companies that I work with, but I've heard of horror stories that are similar, and it really goes back to that. As soon as you post a thought that really should have been kept in here, out there, that's it.
They
Online
could blame it
presence.
on ambient or something.
Like that's why your online presence is extremely important. You need to be careful what you're posting and the pictures that are out there. Then also pictures, you have to think about like what are you being tagged in? Because there could have been a picture that you
Wait,
took.
on the topic of pictures, I saw this happened a while back. I think the girl actually won the case. She was fired or something, or not given the job. I think it was she wasn't given the job because they went on her Instagram and they saw her in a bikini. It wasn't like a thong
He
or
was like a
anything like
teacher
that.
or something like that, right?
Huh?
It's like a teacher or something like
It was
that.
something like that. She was either going for a job or going for promotion, and they didn't give it to her because they said that she was too risque in her photos on her Instagram, and it was just her in a two-piece bathing suit. It wasn't like anything exotic. It's just like a regular bathing suit, and like I believe she won whatever the case was in court. But like, is this happening a lot where like women are getting discriminated because of how they're like dressed in a post on Instagram, even if it's
Not
not
to
like
that extent.
okay,
Not to that extent when it's like you could be with your family, you're wearing a one piece or a two-piece bathing suit. Um, what I would see or what I've heard, I can't say that I know of companies that have terminated employees for pictures that they've posted about more so what they're wearing or related to what they're wearing. But I have heard criticism over someone maybe wearing, I don't know, it's always mainly targeted towards a female, right? Because that's kind of what it is. Male can somewhat dress however, and there really isn't a lot of push to it.
yeah,
Let's call it for what it is. But I don't know if it was like a Halloween or something like that. But the girl had like a bottom, just like a really, really short dress. I'm sorry, a skirt or shorts, and then pasties. So there was some criticism over that. But as you can imagine, that's very risque.
uh, that's like
um,
a weird
or whatever,
costume.
it's Halloween or I think they were body painted, something like that. But I've heard,
Wait. So was there body paint? Because then that makes a little more sense. If they're just pasties
yeah,
and
I think there were, yeah, I
shorts,
think there were some body
that
paint,
makes
but I'm not sure what kind.
that makes way more sense. Because I'm just like, at
I
first I was
haven't
just
seen the photo, so I don't know.
at first I was just picturing just like she's just nude with
Pasties in a skirt.
pasties and a shirt and skirt and like a shorts. But then what I have seen a lot of, especially like in Miami area, women get body painted and they end
Yeah,
up with like their underwear and then they'll put pasties, but they're like
yeah.
fully body painted, and they're walking around. If that's the reason she got in trouble, I think that's wrong.
But yeah, I mean that's a little bit about the book itself. So a lot of topics. A big piece I'm really happy to put out there is the legal rights that a job applicant has. Not a lot of people know that they have legal rights when they're applying for a job. So that's a big piece that I wanted to highlight there as well. So um, I'm hoping for a launch date, the latest January 1st, earliest December 1st. So we shall see. We shall see. It's I'm self-published, so it's just me, and hoping to put it in the avenues of Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and then a website as well.
How did you self-publish it?
Well, that's the next step I'm taking. You mean like why take the route of self-publishing
No,
versus
no,
actually?
like how are you doing it? So you haven't published it yet. That's what you meant.
No, yeah, it's not published yet.
But do you
But
have like an editor? You have somebody helping you?
yes. So when you're taking the route of a traditional publishing house, I've been trying to do a lot of research on this as well, so I know what to expect. But when you take the route of publishing house, for the most part, your what you will receive as profit is usually about 10 to 20%, the average, right?
Yeah.
Um, and that's because the house will be pretty much doing everything for you as far as the printing and the marketing and whatnot. When you're self-published, you make between 80 to 90% of your profits of revenue,
Yeah.
books sold. Um, so yeah, so I wrote the book myself. I had, I use a lot of research, a lot of references here and there, so I'm giving credit to my sources. So I don't want to say it's 100% just me. But I've been doing
No,
my own.
screw them. Screw them. It's all you.
No, I have a lot
This
of
is
people
your
I have to like
moment. This is
do
you. This is you.
a
No,
lot
no,
of
no.
good
Yeah.
people.
No, it's good to have support and it's good to have people on your side and
Yeah,
helping you chase your dreams. Yeah.
for sure. But mostly these
I was
individuals.
just joking, people. I was just joking, people.
But yeah, so done the research. I put the content together. I found an editor, so I did a search of editors. Found one that I feel very passionate about, that I feel like they know exactly the tone of what I'm trying to say. So this person would help me with the editing, make it look like, the way it's supposed to look like. And then I'll be doing the copywriting and then getting my ISBN number, which is that number in the back of the book, right? And then I'll be doing the marketing and everything else. So
Nice.
yeah,
Let
it's
me
gonna
know
be.
let me know in any way I can help.
Oh, thank you. The promotions later on once the book is published.
Yes.
But I'm really proud of this work. The way that the book reads is more of a checklist. I honestly me like I like I like reading. I haven't been reading in a long time, last 1 or 2 years, but I really enjoy a good book typically normally. The only thing with me is that, especially now as my life has gotten really fast paced, 2 kids, work, this, that, da, da, da. I tend to be the kind of person that I skim through things, right? I'm like, just get straight to the point. Don't give me the fluff. Just tell me, do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right? And that's kind of how I read. Like when I'm reading and like I'm looking for an article that's a how-to, and I start seeing like 5 or 6 long paragraphs, I'm like, no, give me something else. I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
Like, just give me
You,
something else. Give me bullet
give you
points,
a
please.
quick summary, bullet points.
Please,
Just tell me, get to the middle.
straight to the point.
Yeah.
Remove the
I'm the
fluff.
same. I'm the same way. Like when I start reading something, next thing I know, I'm like just skipping, like
No.
trying to find the important stuff.
Exactly. I like, because of the way my life has changed, that's kind of how I I read. So that's kind of how I set up the book. It's like
Okay.
the little blurb about thank you letters, for example. And it's like, thank you letters are important because of this, 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 and that. And then this is what you do. This is how you write it. This is what you say. This is paragraph 2. This is paragraph 3. And it's literally bullet points of everything. Every section is a bullet point because it's going straight to the point. Like, no fluff. This is exactly what you need to do in this order. And the bullet points are going to be like little circles, right? I'm debating whether circles or squares, like, so that you can actually check off as you're doing these things
Okay. Okay.
that you're, you know, you're engaged with the book as well. Aside from just reading, you're actually writing in it. Yeah,
Nice.
so really
But like
excited about
you're gonna make it where they can check off if they're
the bullet
done.
points. Exactly.
Okay, that's excellent. Yeah. Interactive.
Exactly.
Yeah. Maybe on the bottom have a few empty lines so they
Note
can write
section.
note so they can note.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you already thought about it.
Yeah. Each page, each chapter has note sections as well. Yeah.
Nice. No,
I
that's
just think about,
exciting.
yeah, it's
Yeah, I
I
didn't know.
can't.
I didn't. You kept it a secret because I didn't know you were writing a book.
No one does. Technically, it's you are
This is a
the.
premiere.
This is somewhat a premiere. I say this because my significant other knew, and I just recently told my
Wait,
parents.
when is your
So,
book coming out?
as late as January 1st, as early as December 1st. So it all depends how soon I
Okay,
get it. But I'm hoping to launch it soon, and it's in those avenues. So it would be Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and then a website that I'll be hosting as well.
Alright, guys. Sorry to interrupt, but this just in. My sister just dropped a video talking about the release of her book. Let's check that out, okay?
And it's called Tired to Hired. It's everywhere. I'm so excited to announce that it's in every online store right now. So you'll find it in Barnes and Nobles. You'll find it in Amazon. You can go to my website, Tired to Hired. That's the number 2.com. So please go ahead, share this information. If you don't need it, I'm sure you know someone that is going to need it. So share it, let everyone know. Tired to Hired, it's out, has HR secrets from an HR professional, how to find a job, and there's a lot of details in there. So thank you, everyone. Bye.
Oh my god, it's official. She's an author. You guys need to check out the book. The links are going to be in the descriptions down below. Now let's get back into it. Alright, let's go.
excellent. That's fantastic. You do it all. You have your full-time job, director of HR, and then you have this other group, the Fierce Female, and now you're also finishing a book. You know, mother of 2. You are the Fierce Female. You're tough as nails.
Thank you. It's so funny because I'm hoping, if everything goes well, I'm hoping to kind of launch out another book next year, spring. And that book would actually be titled Hustle Hard. Because I've always found myself trying to find something really to make money, to bring money into the house, because I was a single income household.
Yeah.
And from this is so bad, and I hope this isn't held against me, but I remember a time where many years ago, I would buy purses at Marshalls and like Ross. Yeah, you already know where I'm going with this. I would buy it, I would look at the price, and it's like, oh, it was $50 then, and it's $20 now. Perfect, I'm gonna sell it for 70.
No,
Or I will sell it for 50, or this and that.
that
Um,
that's a thing. People do that. You know,
yeah,
like there's I was like doing some search online, and then I just jumped in on one of these videos and like, hey, want to make money fast? I was like, all right,
yeah,
let me click on it. And people are going to places like that, like Marshalls, that coat factory spot, and they're
Burlington.
buying Burlington. They're buying like stuff that's already marked down. You
Yeah, you
know,
take off the cheap price, you leave the high price, and you
you
say
leave the
it's
high
$50, but
price.
I'll leave at 45 for
Yeah,
you.
there's people who have started companies on that.
Oh
Like
wow, I didn't know.
all they do on the weekends is go to like these discounted stores
Yeah.
and they buy sneakers. There's like they have like I was watching this. They have like apps that tells them what sneaker, like they could just scan the code and then they could check, its
Verify.
popularity, the verify the popularity of the sneaker, and then they'll buy it or not and know how much they're gonna make. It was like it's like a whole thing. I thought it would just be like people using it as a side hustle, but people are like fully invested.
Wow.
Like they
Yeah.
buy them, they take them home, they take pictures, they write out little, selling
I posted on
points,
Facebook.
and then they post it, but you can sell it on eBay. People are selling it on
Yeah,
eBay, people are selling it on Craigslist, people are selling everywhere.
it's true. It's
And
true.
there's that new app too. I think it's called Posh.
Offer up. Oh, Posh. Yes.
Posh, which is like people just selling their clothes and selling stuff. So like you were doing that before it got
A big
super
thing.
crazy like this. Yeah.
I would always do something. Like I was always trying to do something to bring money to the house, from creating resumes to doing photography to little things here and there. And I'm a little more calmer now than it was before, because I was just like, all right, you need a resume, perfect. And then you need a photography, perfect. I'll get this and I'll get that. Your schedule for this day, I was all over the place.
I almost forgot that you did photography.
Yeah,
People used to hire you. You used to do shoots.
I did weddings, did not baby showers. No, yeah, I did a baby shower too. I did portraits, I did family shoots, I did maternity photos. It
Wow.
was on and popping, but the thing is that then work and then the kids, I couldn't find the time to dedicate to that.
Yeah,
But
no, understandable.
yeah, that was
You were spreading yourself too thin.
yeah, 100%. But yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with everything that I've done, and really it was always for my kids, just to kind of make sure that they had food on the table and be able to give them what they want and what they need, mostly what they need, and then they gotta work for what they want. Um,
As we all do.
even though sometimes, even though I'm not gonna lie, I'm that kind of parent where I was always trying to give them what they want, because they're coming from a broken household, so just trying to make things a little better. But yeah, it's a little crazy, but I try my best. Is all I can say. I just try my best.
That's all we can do. And your best and your energy is, beyond what other people are doing or even aspiring to do. Like I see that you're always like doing something, and it motivates me. I haven't started this podcast because like I need to do something. I was like sitting on my ass.
And this is so awesome because it's actually needed. Like these podcasts are important,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
There's gonna put little hearts just coming up now on the video.
Oh,
So
I appreciate
this was fantastic.
for sure.
Definitely
And
want
I
to read it.
appreciate the opportunity of being here and being able to speak to you, and be just an honor to be able to be considered to be a part of the podcast. So I appreciate
Oh, come on. Quiet.
it.
I'm your
Yeah,
brother.
podcast. I love it, Mark.
No, I thank you for, taking out this little bit of time for me. I really appreciate it. And yeah, your social media, where people can find you, people who want to let's say the Fierce Female one, and then also if people want to be in touch for the book, where can let them know.
For sure. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm still trying to create the website for the book, so nothing has been out there yet. I feel like once I have the book out, all the information, the launch site, all that stuff, I'd love to be able to come back and kind of give those details. But nothing just yet, because I'm still kind of like a month or 2 months away from it. But I would love for people to kind of follow the Fierce Females. So fiercefemales.org, .org, is where you can find the nonprofit. I'm also on Instagram as well as Facebook. So fierce.females.nonprofit is where you can find information there. And soon enough, there'll be more media outlets there speaking on the new book. So that information will come later on. But the nonprofit's supremely important, so you can definitely kind of check that out. And I have a title. I didn't say the title of the book because I have a title for the book. I have to see copyright, all that stuff, if it's one I can use. That's I'm like,
No,
"Ooh."
once it's all ready, you let me know. I'll put it up. I'll put it up and I'll announce it.
I love it. All right, perfect. So do it. Go ahead. What do I do?
That's it. Bye.
All right, thank you so much. And we'll stay connected up. Information on the book.
They didn't set limits. Are you a follower or a visionary? Can you handle the load that you were meant to carry? Cause we're on a mission. Listen, it's beyond description. We don't want to fit in if we're living in a contradiction. We need a brand of passion that you can't imagine. Don't hesitate. Rub the lamp a lad.